So you think you know cars? Okay, then riddle me this. What's all-wheel drive, a Nissan, and has a turbocharger? Oh, well, David, it's obviously a GTR. Wrong.
Wait a minute, who are you?
This is a Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, a car we never got in the United States of America. It was a Group A WC rally car for the street. But too bad it never won a single race though. Don't let that fool you. This car feels incredibly ahead of its time, and it's powered by a motor you would not expect. So let's dig deeper into this car and go for a drive. Welcome to the Nissan Pulsar GTI-R. This is a dream of mine to drive because we never got them here in the United States, and I'm extremely excited to tell you all about it. So, what is the Nissan Pulsar? Well, it was a car developed by Nissan in order to sell pretty much exclusively at certain dealerships inside Japan. But then through its lifespan, when they kept updating the car, it eventually got to the Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, which is this. Now, what is the GTI-R? Well, it's a really cool hatchback. At the same time, what is it powered by? Well, the GTI-R is powered by the SR20 out of all things. For people who live in the United States, that might seem kind of weird because when we think of the SR20, we think of 240SX swaps and things of that nature, but it's in this really cool hatchback, and it's SR20 and it's all-wheel drive. Not only are you getting a motor that's usually not in anything over here, it's in an all-wheel drive platform. The reason it's in an all-wheel drive platform is because this was technically a Group A rally car for WRC. Now for WRC, they needed to homologate 500 of them, but they ended up making 5,000 of them. All in all, the GTI-R was made 14,000 times. So there's 14,000 GTI-Rs total, a little bit over that. Okay, I see you. So this SR20 has an upgraded GTX 60R Gen 2 Garrett turbo, and it produces a little bit more power. Factory, the GTI-R made right around 230 horsepower. The technical is 227, but we'll say 230. To the wheels, I'm not really quite sure because the all-wheel drive system takes up a lot, obviously. But unfortunately, the GTI-R never won a WRC race. But it was in production from 1990 to 1994. So all in all, it was a very cool car and very ahead of its time. This was a 13-second car in the quarter mile in 1990. That's ridiculous, especially for a four-cylinder. It makes all the right noises. So apparently there's a two-step, so... All right. They were all right-hand drive, as you can see. I'm on the opposite side as I usually am. I've talked about right-hand drive a million times, but as you might think, if you've never driven right-hand drive, you gotta kind of resort your brain again, relearn how to drive. So my butt dyno is saying right around 300 horsepower, maybe mid 300s. That's what it kind of feels like. It's quick, there's no doubt about it. And I cannot imagine what this car felt like in the early 90s. This thing had to have been bonkers for people experiencing it. Let's talk about the looks of the GTI-R. Now, it's this very boring hatchback when it's not the GTI-R. The Pulsar is very unassuming. It's not that crazy looking, but the GTI-R has the really cool hood. But also to add on to the front end of this car, it kind of gives you the vibe of old Sentra, but modified. But this one has a front mount intercooler. But the SR20 in this car originally came with a top mount intercooler, something similar you would see on a Subaru Boxer motor, which is very interesting to me. But it's got a cool wing on the back, it's got the gills on the hood to give it extra cooling. It looks like a rally car. It looks like the same class as, say, the Peugeots and things of that nature during the same time. That's why I've always loved this car online. I've never seen one in person except one that was really kind of clapped out, if you know what I mean. It was really damaged. This one is impeccably clean. It's gonna get a new paint job soon, so it's gonna look magnificent, but the interior of this thing is absolutely absolutely flawless. You can tell that the gauges are, you know, they're Nissan from the 90s, but the steering wheel is easily my favorite 90s steering wheel from Nissan ever. It's got this very nice texture around it with the red stitching. It feels special. There's no buttons on it to distract you. It's got a very nice, charming horn. All right. Oh, baby. We are live. I will say though, the shifter in this thing is really tricky, but it has kind of a neutral zone that's kind of hard to figure out. When you need to go in gear, you need to be in gear. There's no leeway, if that makes sense. So when I go into third, I gotta go clunk, clunk. You have to really force it into gear. You get that satisfying notch. If I go from this to fourth, I need to kind of take my time with it if I'm not used to the car. But as you see, I just did that and it was nice and smooth and serene. Cruise on the highway, this is easily one of the smoothest 90s Nissans there were. I would actually compare this to some of the luxury Nissans that I've driven when it comes to quality and also how smooth it is. I mean, the R32 is not that much like nicer in a lot of ways. You can tell how people probably had a hard time picking between the Skyline and this because, yeah, the Skyline's cool, but it was also much more expensive and it had the all-wheel drive, while this is a very similar all-wheel drive system as the Skyline. This pattern right here looks straight out of like a 240 before it gets all old and faded. The dash itself, it's definitely a different material. It has no cracks on it. It's another thing. You can tell that they put a lot of love into the GTI-R compared to the 240's interior of the same era. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's the same company, but at the same time, you and I both know that Japan got all the cool cars and we just got kind of the dumbed down versions of it, so it's another thing. This is also a car that when you kind of glance at it, it would look like a 4-door, but it's a 2-door. It's a coupe hatchback thingamajigger, you know what I mean? It's got the wing that comes back. You have this very cool, mean looking front end, and then it goes nice and smooth over, and then it abruptly ends. If you want to shove somebody in that back seat, you could, but it doesn't look like it'd be that comfortable, to be honest. Also, the air conditioning, I know this is random, but I appreciate this in a imported car. The AC works great. It has a Pioneer head unit in it to listen to modern music. You know, you have that old raw feeling of a sports car from the early 90s from Nissan. You know, this Recaro seat is super comfortable, but the passenger seat is also pretty comfortable. The Recaros definitely keep me in place more, obviously, but it's not a Recaro that'll break your back because it's reclinable and you can move it around and you have the adjustability, if that makes sense. The GTI-R specifically, I've always wanted to drive one, and so far I'm not disappointed. I think it's a really cool car. I don't know the longevity of them. I don't know how they handle modification too well because this one is mostly bolt-ons and the upgraded turbo, which it seems to be handling it just fine. It's not misfiring, not anything. The guys over at Victory Motorsports have done an amazing job so far with the car. That GTX is so rad. The GTXs make such cool noises, dude. They spool up so quick. In my opinion, the GTX is the best turbo on the market right now. The GTX Gen 2 cannot go wrong. Some other things to note, it's got the, you know, the basic wheel. It's got the RPF ones. Nothing wrong with them. A lot of people complain, oh, there's too many of them. It's because they work, man. They're lightweight, they're efficient, and they also are very strong. So it's hard not to go wrong with them. Plus, it looks good on the GTI-R. Also, I'm not gonna open it on this very hot Georgia day, so I'm wearing a bro top, but it's got a sunroof too. It's pretty cool. Awesome. As I'm driving this, I'm like imagining myself in trees and woods and dirt like a rally car, and I'm like, oh baby, no, that's scary. You guys might hate me saying this, I'm getting Focus RS vibes. This feels like what a 90s version of the Focus RS would have felt like, other than the Focus RS they made. I'm saying this feels way more like the modern one, just with an older interior. The vibe, the acceleration, the pull, the turbo, like the way it kicks in, the torque, it's an SR with torque, you know, like that's rad. Now this is a 5-speed. It's not 6-speed time yet in the 90s or the early 90s, but for a 5-speed, it has a nice overdrive gear. We're at about 65 miles an hour right now. We're under 3,000 RPM, so it's geared in a way that it's tolerable. And I think that's one of the reasons why it doesn't seem too loud when you're cruising on the highway. For an SR20, it doesn't sound like an SR20. You know, SR20s have this kind of weird rasps to them sometimes. So interesting to hear an SR that's quiet and not like straight piped. I've also noticed that every single car that's imported from Japan by Nissan smells the same. I know that's like a random thing. Car smells are important to me, okay? Like, why does every single BMW smell like a Crayola box? The world may never know. Yeah, that shifter, man, it's tricky. Be it like 3rd to 4th, piece of cake. That 2nd to 3rd is the one that seems to get me. Yeah, that's it. 1 to 5th, you gotta really put it in 5th gear, if that makes sense. You can't just like go straight. You gotta really go over and up. You can definitely see why a lot of people call this the baby GTR or the baby R32 GTR, because all-wheel drive, it's got a turbo, it's 2 cylinders down, and it makes a lot of the same noises. You know, it's got the same vibe. In a lot of ways, it's right-hand drive. And it smells the same as we mentioned before. All right, you guys, what do you think about the Nissan Pulsar GTI-R? I personally am not let down at all. I was really scared it was gonna be one of those moments, like don't meet your heroes moment, but I really enjoy driving this thing. I think it's really cool. I totally see why a lot of people are starting to pick them up now because they're legal. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.